When it comes to horse racing, finding the winning horse and identifying who will place are two different strategies. We're going to take a look at why your second choice is not your best bet to place. It's time to rethink your strategy. So last week on Belmont Stakes Day, we had a race that could have been a lucrative one when looking at the race shape and the Exacta wheel pace. The first step we all take in betting races is handicapping who the likeliest winner is of the race. So let's go ahead and handicap the race to who our selection will be. We have two horses who need to go gate to wire to win. The 1, Today's Flavor, and 5, Strobe. Starting with Today's Flavor, we can see that 3 races back on the fast track he won going 22 and 2/5 seconds to the first call and 45 seconds flat to the second call in an allowance race. Last time out on a sloppy and sealed track, he was able to win going 22 and 2/5 and then 45 and 2/5 to the second call. Now, when looking at the first and second call race shape over here on the Brisnet past performances, we see that was a -1 and a -2. Not as fast, but still one that we need to respect. And for reference, every 2 points is a fifth of a second in these race shape figures given out by Brisnet. And a fifth of a second is essentially a length of a horse. So if we want to get a more accurate first call, we would say Today's Flavor is more in the range of 22 and 3/5 to the first call. Now going to the 5, Strobe, 3 back at Fairgrounds, he won with the first call in 21 and 4/5 seconds and a second call 45 seconds flat. 2 back he was off by a head at 22 seconds flat, but slowed down to the second call, getting there in 45 and 3/5 to draw off to win. The races that are telling are 4 back and 1 back. Let's look at the Churchill race. He didn't get out by open lengths, he faded the whole way around and was second best. Then, last time out at Oaklawn, he was in 5th, made a good move at each call, and got up to second. The key here is seeing that when he doesn't get the lead, he's in chase mode and is not a contender to win. Also, look at the first and second call for that Belmont Park race. +5 and +4, the pace was much too fast for him to win. We need to look at the first call because we need to see who can get the lead, and we use the 22 seconds flat from his highest win and optional claimer. But this early pace battle gets a bit interesting because we see that both horses need to be ahead by open lengths to win. The second call then comes into play here. Today's Flavor can get there in 45 seconds flat, but Strobe is much slower in his wins against higher class horses, getting there in 45 and 3/5. Mentally, we need to see that neither of these horses can get there in their preferred pace or preferred running style. And this is a little bit better seen when looking at the race summary, since both horses are shipping in from different tracks. The E1 and E2 pace numbers take in track variants and offer us a way to look at these early horses even better. Each of the horses that we know that need to go gate to wire, their E1 pace is a 96. But then, as we've seen in the handicap, we know Today's Flavor is faster to the second call, and that's shown when we look at the E2 pace of a 110 compared to Strobe's 107. Remember, both these horses need to be in front to win. Again, I can't stress it enough. The battle to the first call is going to be contested by each of them, but then Today's Flavor is going to bury Strobe by the second call. Now, with that opening quarter being worked for harder by the 1, he's going to have a lot less down the lane to finish off to win. Our next battle is seeing what pressers can run to these fractions that we project today. Second call times are important here because we need to see who will be in position to run into the leaders. And if we go back, we can look at Today's Flavor and see that he can run a second call in 46 seconds, 45 and 4/5 seconds, 45 seconds, and 45 and 2/5 seconds. When using the race shape to adjust the second call times, we see that he's around 45 and 3/5 when going 6 furlongs. But today you have to remember we're going 6.5. So we need to mentally remember these fractions are probably going to be a touch slower than what we see as a raw number in the program. So now we need to go and look through the form of the off the pace runners of who can run to that. The 2 Synthesis is coming in off a winning second call of 44 and 4/5 seconds, which was a career high speed figure for him. Now, conventional handicapping tells us that we should see some regression in him from that race. Going through, we see a winning second calls of 46 and 2/5 against optional claiming races, but when stepping up into greatest stakes level, he's distant and not a threat to win. So he's stepping up today into greatest stakes company and coming off a career best race, not the best of situations when looking for win contention. The 3, Anarchist, last time out faced a 45-second call in a grade 3. When we look at the race shape at -5 at the second call, again, raw figure wise, it looks good, but we need to realize it isn't as fast as it appears on paper. 2 back, he finished second against a 43 and 4/5 second call. Looking at class level, we see that he can win against grade 3 horses, but needs a slow pace to win. And then the 6, our last presser, who is pretty much an automatic toss with the cutback from all these routes. His early speed's not going to be there from routing. He's going to struggle to stay close enough early. Class level wise, we see the grade 3 wins and a place in a grade 2. In this race, he's going to have a much tougher time coming from off the back of the pack because of our lone closer, the 4 Elite Power. Now, we see the grade 3 win overseas last time out. Many of us know that he did win the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year. That was against a 44 and 4/5 second call. And he's also won against a much slower 47 and 3/5 at the second call. He's a very versatile horse and one that most of us will say will win today against what the early horses will set. He's going to benefit from the early horses, trying to outrun each other and be able to take advantage of that. Even if they do go slower, he's shown the ability to bury those fields. Now, it's no secret that he's the one to win this race. He'll be able to overtake the early runners and is the best off the pace runner. But how do we get around having to bet him at 3 to 5? And it's using him as a key in the Exacta. What makes this race interesting are the rest of the pressers. They can run winning races against the fractions our early horses can set. Remember, when we're looking for the place horse, we're looking at who can beat the rest of the field. We're not looking for the second best horse. The second best horses to win are the 2 early runners. And why? It's because if the race goes their way, they walk to the front and no one closes on them. But we're saying Elite Power will come sweeping by them to win. So now that we're saying that Elite Power is going to come by them to win, we have to realize what speed horses do when they get confronted. And they usually fade, and it's usually pretty bad. So what we need to do now is go back through the rest of the off the pace types and see who can beat the 45 and 3/5 second call time that we're projecting in here today. Synthesis just won facing a 44 and 4/5. Anarchus is coming off a 45 second call win. And it's also worth noting the 5 career second place finishes, a clear sign that he likes to run second. Fearless is also in a good spot because of the 6.5 furlong distance. It's one that a lot of routers like to turn back to because of the added half furlong. They don't win a lot of races, but they come flying up under to finish out these races. So now when we go and look at the Exacta wheel pays, we can see one thing's clear. Today's Flavor and Strope are severe underlays to place. What this does do for us, though, is increase the odds on our 3 pressers that we know can beat the 2 speed runners that are second and third in the betting. And when we look, $27, $13, $21, when we key them under Elite Power, who we've handicapped to be the winner. So now a few things. Betting in the profitable situations is all about being able to toss one horse that's more or less in that 3 to 1 or less range. But what we're able to do here is take it one step further by tossing the 2 top choices in a race that we feel are hopeless in this to place. The next thing is that we need to know the power of an odds-on favorite. They place around 68% of the time. If we were concerned about any of our 3 horses we have in the place spot of winning, we could use Elite Power as a key horse and flip this Exacta 236 with 4, and we see the payouts of $70, $30, or $48. Personally, I wouldn't do that in this race because we've gone through and determined that Elite Power towers this field and can overtake the early pace setters. Betting's the easy part in here now. We don't want to make the win bets on a 3 to 5 shot, but we now have seen that the other 3 horses are clearly better than the second and third choice in the betting. We played the Exacta 4 over the 2, 3, and 6. And then the race plays out exactly like we said. The 1 and 5 go out, battle for the front to the second call, which is 46 seconds, slow enough for all these pressers to get to. Elite Power sits, takes over, and as we see the 3 Anarchus do what he does best, and that's run up for another second place finish. And now we've turned a chalky race into one where we cash a $13 Exacta ticket using the 3 to 5 favorite to our advantage.